And why are Republicans in general so eager to end the idea of fact-checking?
When you see people that were, generally speaking, on the rise prior to the MAGA election of 2025, do you see that do you feel something like you're looking at ghosts or twitching corpses? Here's Joy Reid, who's pretty distressed about Facebook's repositioning.
Why would conservatives think fact-checking is biased against them? I mean, what are you sharing if you keep getting fact-checked for false information? Think about it. What were conservatives sharing on Meta that was getting flagged so much?
COVID? War between Russia and Ukraine?
Are they spreading false information?
Hunter Biden laptop? Russiagate was made up?
And why were they so eager? And why are Republicans in general so eager?
Adverse events?
To end the idea of fact-checking. What are they trying to share? What is the motivation for not wanting it to be fact-checked?
It's not Republicans, though, is it? It's Mark Zuckerberg. And in a sense, what this shows you is there's a massive political shift, and ultimately companies like Meta will have to follow the money and go, Dana White, would you like to be on the board? It's a massive repoing. And in a way, things had got out of hand, hadn't they? Crazily and insanely out of hand. What do I envisage as being the next significant shift? Hopefully, people in government will confine themselves to managerial and bureaucratic matters and facilitate the maximal amount of freedom for individuals and communities to live in accordance with their will. Sounds like a good way to proceed. Let's see what Glenn Greenwald's saying about it. There's panic in self-anointed disinformation and fact-checking groups that have coerced big tech to pay them to dictate which political ideas which must be removed. The post-2016 financing of censorship industrial complex bought power and profit. Facebook won't pay anymore. Amazing. You know what's fascinating is that groups like CRISP and Logically AI were involved when I was attacked in September 2023 in ensuring that those stories were handled in ways that were maximally impactful and what do I want to say, effective in diminishing my impact online. So I know about the groups that Glenn Greenwald is referring to there. It's pretty fascinating and significant. Let's look at how the mainstream media are handling this.
Meanwhile, a major announcement this morning from Meta. Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. In a video posted on his platforms today, CEO Mark Zuckerberg announcing big changes to the company's fact-checking policy. NBC's senior Washington correspondent Hallie Jackson joins us now with more on this. And Hallie, the timing is a bit curious, just days ahead of the start of a new administration.
Yeah, that's right, Craig. Good morning to you. And the big headline here, no more fact-checking, as we've noted for the last 8 years on Facebook and Instagram. Mark Zuckerberg himself is announcing these new changes for Meta, calling the recent elections a cultural tipping point, he says, towards prioritizing free speech. So this morning, he says that Meta will move away from the independent, nonpartisan fact-checking they've had in place since after the 2016 election.
Did he call it independent, nonpartisan fact-checking? Is that what he was calling it?
Instead, he says they'll rely on community notes. In other words, users putting out context. This is similar to what X is doing.
Whales are indeed mammals. Look at the example. A tomato is a fruit, not a vegetable. Don't you dare mention that injection gave you myocarditis.
Zuckerberg says Meta's complex moderation system makes too many mistakes with too much censorship.
It's the complex system. It's the complex system that did it. Was it a complex system, or was it an attempt to censor opposition, shut down dissenting voices, and control the narrative in favor of globalist totalitarianism?
The fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the U.S.
And that's not all. Meta also plans to get rid of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender, and to move their content moderation team from California to Texas.
Oh my God! They've actually overdone it. You get the hell out of California. We're going to Texas, Mama. Do you know what I like? I like hot sauce, firing guns, driving around in a Ram Longhorn, and I loathe immigration. And what are your pronouns? I don't have pronouns.
Among other things, you referenced the timing. This is all happening less than 2 weeks before President-elect Trump is sworn in. And as Zuckerberg and some of these other tech titans appear to...
That is unbelievable. We're going to Texas, like the Beverly Hillbillies in reverse, just loading up and heading to Texas right now.
be looking to make inroads with the incoming administration. After Mr. Trump's win in November, Zuckerberg, remember, traveled to Mar-a-Lago. His company donated $1 million to the Trump Inaugural Fund. Keep in mind the backdrop here. Over the next 4 years, the Trump administration will set federal policy in areas like AI and antitrust that are really important to Meta and these other big tech companies, too.
Yeah, but I don't think it's anything to do with that. It's just those complex systems. That's amazing. Put on your Stetson, load up your 6-shooter, and get your ass to Texas right now. Unbelievable. So there you have it. We thought that the territory of Facebook had been forever conquered by fact checkers, that online spaces, like physical spaces, were controlled by globalist resources and were fulfilling a globalist agenda. That's all radically changed. They've worked out that the world's going to be governed differently, America's going to be governed differently, that their entire business is under threat. Now, no one knows how this is going to unfold more broadly and whether or not new elites will emerge to replace the old elites and new restrictions will be put in place and new biases will replace the old. But in terms of the trajectory of where power was heading, this is an incredible disruption and an incredible event. This is something that would have been very difficult to predict before the election, but I suppose it's absolutely obvious. Of course, Mark Zuckerberg has to refine and redirect his business model to fit in with a new administration. In a way, it's heartening because whatever you believe about Trump and the MAGA movement, it at least shows you that politics is not completely insignificant. I'd reached the point where I thought that it don't matter who you vote for because globalist power is so insidious, deep and entrenched that there's nothing you can do anyway. I remember saying publicly there's no point voting. Well, there is a point in voting now because you can see the elevation of political movements that can radically transform what were presumed to be the apex predators of global power. Big tech companies, global corporations, they're now having to reform their entire modus operandi on the basis of the will of the American people. Imagine that. How extraordinary. If you're watching this on Facebook, hey, welcome back. I hope you're enjoying it. If you're watching this on X, thank you. But you should know that our home is over on Rumble. Most coffee out there is basically the liquid equivalent of a participation trophy. Bland, mass-produced, utterly forgetful. But peaberry beans, they're not here to play nice. You get yourself that peaberry, you'll know you've been caffeinated. It's 1775, baby. These rare little rebels make up less than 10% of the entire coffee harvest. Instead of sticking to the crowd, they grow solo, resulting in a denser, more intense bean that doesn't just follow the herd. These beans are grown at high altitudes and are hand-picked at their peak because if you're going to do something, do it right, yeah? Do them beans right. Thanks to their unique solo act, pea berries deliver richer flavors, a smoother finish, and a touch more caffeine to keep you sharp and focused, like the universe intended. This isn't your corporate coffee sludge. This is for those who see through the nonsense and demand a cup that's as real as it gets. Why settle for anything less than the sweetest pea berries, those rarest among beans? So if you're tired of sipping on mediocrity, go to 1775coffee.com. Use my special code BRAND to get 15% off. Don't just wake up properly to 1775. Revolutionary coffee in the revolution against mediocrity.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.